In the spring, the horses go out early in the morning for turnout, and they often come in with muddy, wet legs. One of the questions we frequently get asked is how much grooming should people do before class? If the horse has a lot of wet mud on their legs, leave it alone. It will dry and eventually be easy to brush off. If the horse needs to wear polo wraps, they will have to have their legs cleaned enough to wrap them. The best way to handle that is to grab a towel out of the tack room and dry it using the towel so that the instructor can wrap their legs. Another important step for grooming when it's muddy out is to make sure that you always pick out the horse's hooves. Once the pastures are muddy and soft, the horses pick up the mud, but they also pick up rocks, and they can get wedged inside the hoof. Please review the horse hoof picking video if you need help with that, or ask your instructor to give you a demonstration. If your horse is shedding a lot, we have several different tools that will help scrape that loose hair off and make it easier to groom them. Steve is using one of the flowers that are found in your tote. Steve, can you hold that up for people to see? Yep. So it actually has little teeth on it that will grab the hair and pull it out. We also have several other tools in the grooming tote that you can use. Let me show you. One of them looks like a loofah sponge or something that you would use in your shower. It helps grab the hair too and pulls it out. If your horse has a lot of built up static electricity, grab a dryer sheet to wipe over your horse and your hands, and that will reduce the static.
Alright, and we're getting ready to do some vacuuming. And as you see, Nick's in the cross ties there, and we have the vacuum placed right in front of him, which is not the place to have that. So we'll get this placed in the right spot, and we'll begin. Okay, now you can see that Ernest has got the vacuum on and running. And you see we've got it nicely off to the side where it's not going to be in the way if anything were to spook the horse. You see Ernest is using the vacuum and going in the same direction that the horse's hair goes, just like you would be brushing. And this is also really good to do if they're really dirty and maybe the horse doesn't necessarily like to be curried very much. You can use the vacuum and it makes them much happier. And you can see you can go all around the horse and it's not a problem. Most of the horses are really used to this. There is a list on each of the vacuums that shows exactly which horses can and cannot be vacuumed. That list is right on top of the machine. Alright, one of the other parts of springtime grooming is all the hair that gets on all the brushes. If you hold those up for me, Ernest, you can see there's a lot of hair on the brush there, a lot of hair on the curry, a lot of hair on Ernest. So we don't want to leave the brushes like that. So we will then take them over to the muck bucket that's in all of the grooming stalls, and we'll clean off those brushes. You can either use the two brushes together to get that off, or you can kind of pick it off with your hands, just so the next person doesn't have a lot of hair left on the brush when they go to start grooming the next horse. And of course the last part of the springtime cleanup would be to make sure all that hair that's on the ground gets cleaned up as well. You want to sweep all that up and then pick it up with a shovel and put it into the manure tub.